What's up, you guys, and welcome back to the channel. I am your girl Bevlin, and this is Dispersed. As you can see by the title of the video, this is part 2 to being a corporate mom, baby must-haves, and all that jazz. In this part, I'm going to be talking about being pregnant while you're trying to be a corporate girly, and also being a corporate mom when you're a corporate girly. I'm just going to give you tips of things that worked, share my experience with you guys, and hope it helps someone. Maybe not yap a lot. Let's get right into the video. Let's start at the very beginning. My experience of being pregnant. Guys, when I tell you that nothing could have prepared me for being pregnant and going to work, nothing, not even, I don't even know. Nothing could have prepared me. Even if God was to show me a video like this is what's going to happen, nothing could have prepared me, because wow, having a full-time job and being a mom, which is already a full-time job on its own, is crazy work, to say the very least. So I found out that I was pregnant after my articles, my audit articles, as well as after qualifying as a chartered accountant. And I will say this, if you have control over it, I mean, you do have control over it. If you have control over it, don't get pregnant before you're done with your articles, because I don't even know the people who got pregnant during articles, how they did it. Because I will tell you this, people are more lenient when you're a manager when you're pregnant. I will explain. As a trainee or when you're doing your articles, you have to put in the work, right? Because you're trying to get your competency signed, you're trying to finish your articles, you're trying to qualify as a chartered accountant. And you have to study at some point in your second year. You have to do your APC, right? Or in your third year, whatever, right? And now you're pregnant and you have these deadlines, and some managers just don't care. They don't understand. They don't care. Some partners don't care. So now you're pregnant and you're doing your articles. I cannot even imagine. I salute everybody who got pregnant and gave birth during articles, because I don't think I would have been able to do that, because that is a job on its own. You're working late nights, right, so that you get the experience, so that you don't fall behind with your competencies, and then you have studies on top of it, and then there's a baby crying. You're lying, or your back is hurting because your stomach is, you're lying. There's no way. I got pregnant after I qualified as a chartered accountant, and the experience, my pregnancy was tough. Like, I won't even lie, but I had people who were supporting me. So the most important thing is, before you do get pregnant, make sure you are ready to become a mom. Because not just you saying, you and your partner agreeing, oh no, we're about to have a baby, let's have a baby, whatnot. Make sure that you yourself are ready, because in the event that your partner isn't as present as you thought they were going to be, you're going to be by yourself, and that's tough, right? Because I'm just thinking about the experiences that I had being pregnant, and if I didn't have my husband with me, that would have been a total So earlier on in my pregnancy, I got diagnosed with hyperemesis gravidarum. It was quite intense. It's like excessive throwing up. You can Google it if you want. I'm not going to go into detail about it. It was very difficult because I was throwing up everything. You know, when people say you get morning sickness, it's not morning sickness. It's hyperemesis gravidarum. I'll put the name on the screen. It's morning sickness on steroids, and it's horrible. I lost so much weight. I was the lightest I've ever been post 25 during pregnancy, which is crazy because I'm supposed to be gaining weight during my pregnancy, but here I am losing weight. So I was going to the hospital quite a bit. I was admitted, and mainly because I was dehydrated, because I was throwing up water, guys. Anything. I tried ice, people say ice. I tried it. It wasn't working. I tried flavored water. It worked for a little bit, but then flavored water is carbonated, so that wasn't good for me. I couldn't take much of it. It was just a lot. It was just a heavy experience. And sometimes because you spend the whole night throwing up, you are so tired in the morning and you have work. And I cannot tell you how much I appreciated being a manager, because for the firm that I work for, being a manager, it was a bit more flexible. My senior manager just wanted the job done. He didn't care whether it was done at night, whether it was done at 5 a.m. As long as we met the deadlines, he was fine with it. But sometimes I would end up in the hospital, right? And I'm not at work. But my manager was so understanding. He was very flexible, which was really great for me, because I don't know what I would have done if that wasn't the situation. I will say that having a flexible job really helped, because I don't know where I would be without having a flexible job. I still did my job. It's just that the working hours were not as straightforward anymore as they were. If I had to attend to something in person, I did attend to it. I mean, if I'm in hospital, of course, I cannot attend to it. Someone else had to attend to it. But I did my best to make sure that I did everything that I could when I could, and make sure the job was done. I don't think I ever had an instance where anyone was complaining that the job was not done because I was pregnant. No, we don't sleep on our job. We don't do that. But it was a difficult time, and having support really, really helped. Maybe giving a little bit of context with hyperemesis. So what happened is, initially the doctors thought I had normal morning sickness, you just throwing up here and there. So I got some medication. I think I got some vitamin B1 or something in the beginning, and then I got something else, some nausea medication. I don't remember them by head, but they were all not working. And then one night, when Hubs was away, I threw up, and I threw up blood. That day when I threw up blood, I literally called, because Christabel was the one who was, in town, and I literally called her and I was like, "Girl, I just threw up blood." And then we went to the emergency room, and then we got to the emergency room, and the doctor was like, "No, if it was a thing of, there's blood down there, then I would be worried about the baby. But because it's coming out from your throat, your mouth, it means that it's probably coming from your stomach or from your throat. Somewhere is bruised and somewhere is bleeding. So that's not a cause of concern regarding to the baby." They treated me, and then we went through some questions. They asked me, like, have I gotten this medication? I told them which medications I've tried, and they ended up just saying, "Girl, you got hyperemesis gravidarum because your blood pressure is low. We're gonna put you so that we hydrate you." I think I went twice to get hydrated, twice or 3 times. And then she just gave me some medication. I remember I was very scared to take that medication, because I did my own research before I took the medication, and the internet was not kind. They gave you medication that is pretty much banned in other countries, but it's something that does help. Because hyperemesis is that if it's not treated and if it's really serious, you could actually die. Like, you could actually, because you're not eating and you have a human growing in you. So if you're not eating and you're throwing up and you have a human growing in you, you're going to get starved, you're going to get dehydrated, and at some point it's just going to be not good for either you or the baby. So most of the time people end up having to get their pregnancies terminated if the doctor feels like it's not viable for you to carry it through full term. So normally that assessment is done in your second trimester, especially after the first trimester, because morning sickness usually not usually just happens, but it's most common in your first trimester. So if it doesn't end after the first trimester, and the baby is now growing significantly more and they need more nutrients, it becomes quite difficult. And the support that I had during my pregnancy when it comes to that specifically was immense. I had so many of my friends. I had Christabel, I had Lorna, I had Magdalena, and my husband. Guys, when I tell you that my husband was on top of his game when it came to me being pregnant, he would try to cook whatever. He would cook like 4 or 5 times and make me try the food, and I would still throw up, and he would go back and cook again, because it was just that intense at that particular point in time. But we sailed through. The baby was born and the baby's here, so that's great. So going towards my maternity leave, I just had to make sure that I did everything when it comes to work. That last month was actually quite intense because you have to make sure things are done, things that you don't want to hand over, or things that you feel like would be easier if you just do them rather than handing them over. But they have a deadline before you have to go to maternity leave or during your maternity leave. So I was trying to get those things done. But like I said, when it came to work, I had so much support. I had so much support. So I it wasn't a train smash. But planning on doing a baby shower, I was still thinking about it. I wasn't sure whether I wanted to do baby shower or baby shoot. And then the baby decided that they might want to come, and we ended up being in the hospital. At that time, it was too early for her to come. At that time, we decided after we left the hospital, let's just get these things done before the baby actually comes. Because now, if this baby comes anytime now and we haven't done these things, and then we're in regret, it's not necessary. So we ended up doing the baby shower, which was really fun. People really came out to support. People, our friends were there to just support us, and we did have a baby registry. I literally got every single little thing on my baby registry. I don't know if there's something that I didn't get on my baby registry. No, there's nothing. I got everything. The most of the things that I wanted were diapers, right? And there were other big items. I was actually very surprised. We got all the big items. We didn't buy any of the big items. We got all the help from friends and family. And then the one thing that I would recommend if you're to do a baby shower, even if people don't buy you like the big items on your registry, the least they can do is buy you diapers. They can just go buy one pack of diapers or wipes. And when I tell you that we didn't have to buy wipes or diapers till the baby was like 6 months, and when I tell you those babies need diapers like every other minute, and if you didn't have to buy diapers all the way from then, so game changer, absolute game changer. So even if people ask you, do you want anything for your baby, tell them diapers, tell them the brand of diapers you want, tell them which size you want, get them to get you diapers, get them to get you wipes. People can get a box because it's cheaper for your friends to go get a box of wipes, which costs like 100 and something, and it has like 6-pack or a 6-pack of wipes or like an 8-pack, rather than you trying to get wipes for like a living, and those things just fly out. Like, you don't even know where they're going, they just fly out. So we did end up having the baby shower, and we pretty much DIY'd everything. In retrospect, I feel like we shouldn't have done that. I was heavily pregnant at that point, and I don't even know why we did that. It was straight after I came from the hospital, and I was like, we need to do the baby shower. After that, I was very driven to make sure everything is done, because when we got admitted into hospital, the baby was about to come, and then they were like, baby girl, have you even packed your bag? And I'm like, no. And she's like, if you don't get discharged, if the baby ends up coming, because we had a scare with that, if the baby ends up coming, your husband will need to go buy the things. If you get discharged, right, I'm gonna need you to go back to your house and make sure you pack. Then there you go back home, pack your bag. Then my mom came a few weeks before the baby was born. My sister came like 2 months before the baby was born, before the baby's due date, and they were just with us. And when I tell you that getting help when you're pregnant, the best. We did the baby shoot, and the baby shoot went very well. Yeah, there's nothing much to say about that. We did the baby shoot with a guy, I think his name on Instagram is Keen Studios, and the pictures came out very nice, very cute. I'll put some pictures somewhere here. I went on maternity leave 2 weeks before my due date. I really wished I'd gone earlier, because I was tired by the time I had to go on maternity leave. I took about 6 months. I took annual leave as well, but in total it was almost 6 months. It was like maybe 1 or 2 weeks shy of 6 months, but yeah. I wish I could have taken longer, but I don't have the days anymore. Now, I gave birth. The plan was to have a natural birth, And we get in there. House didn't want me to have a natural birth. He wanted us to have a C-section because he had just heard a lot of like stories about how people are in labor for long and then they end up having a C-section anyway, which he ended up being right because I was in labor for days, honey, and the baby was not coming. And then the doctor was like, "Nana, we need to get this baby out because my water broke." Right? I was supposed to actually be getting induced because she was sitting very low for a very long time, and I kept on getting infections, and it triggered a lot of contractions. Like the baby was going to come out, so we were supposed to get induced. And then on the day of getting induced, the baby, we were literally praying for us to go to the hospital, and my water broke, right? And I was like, but it didn't break, like in the movies. Movies we like exaggerate. I'm going to do like a quick story time. I'm not going to go into much detail about that whole experience, but basically I was supposed to be getting induced on that day at midnight, and then we were literally praying so that we can leave, right? So that we can go get induced. So it was like around 11 p.m. and we were praying, and then I felt like, the movies tell you that, your water breaks and then there's a gush of water, there's a puddle of water all over. No, 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 no. We were praying, and then I felt like I was peeing on myself. I'm like, girl, what is this? Peeing on myself? What's happening? Right? And I tell Hubs, I'm like, listen, I think I'm peeing on myself because from what I know, this is not how the water breaks, And then he's like, maybe the water is broken. So I went to the bathroom and I checked. I'm about to get a bit graphic, but I went and checked and I saw some blood, and I was like, oh, I think it's time for us to scoot. And then we left. We finished the prayer, then we left. At that point in time, I was having pain like during the whole day, but it wasn't like intense pain. Maybe because my period pain is already quite intense, so I didn't think that we were in labor or anything. It was painful, but it wasn't something that I was screaming about. And then when the water broke, I was also feeling the same way. It was nothing like, oh, I cannot handle it. I cannot handle this. So we get to the hospital. We drive to the hospital. Everything is relaxed. Hubs and I drive to the hospital. Then we get there, and then they were like, no, since your water actually broke, we're no longer booking you in for induction. We're just going to let, the natural course of things go along. So they're like, oh, okay, we're going to check you in for normal labor. We're not longer doing the induction since your water is already broke. I'm like, okay, cool. First of all, my doctor, my gynae, my original gynae, he wasn't there. He had left because he thought the baby was going to come earlier, but the baby didn't come earlier. And he had something that he had to attend to. So now we had gone to see another doctor. He highly recommended her, and she is brilliant. So we went in there. She did a thorough check. Already, I was a bit nervous about that. We had already had like built a little bit of a relationship because we met her like 2 weeks before, but it wasn't as long as the time I'd known. Like the relationship that I built with my doctor, because my gynae was my gynae before I even got pregnant, and he took really good care of me. Now I'm meeting this woman 2 weeks before giving birth, and I was scared. I was really, really scared. But we went ahead with it, and we get there, and then we tell her that the water broke, and then she's like, "It's okay. Get checked in. I'll be there and check you out." She comes, and by then, during the check-in, the pain was getting a little bit more intense. So we finally get checked in. We get into the ward, into the private room, and then the nurses come, and then they just make sure that you are comfortable and everything. And I was asking them, so when am I going to get the pain meds? Because the pain was paining now. And then the lady was like, "Girl, you're not even 4 centimeters, and you're asking for pain meds. You need to chill, right?" And at this point, the water was not yet done coming out, right? I thought water just comes out kawan like once and then that's it. But this water kept on coming in dribbles and little drips and whatnot. And then they're like, we need to check how far along you are, like centimeters. And this is also another thing. When people are explaining these things, such as morning sickness, or when they're checking how many centimeters you are, they don't tell you that morning sickness is actually something that doesn't happen in the morning only. It happens throughout the day, and it's not like a cute you actually, maybe for me because I had hyperemesis, it was something different, but you actually, you know, and with hyperemesis, because you have nothing else to throw up in your tummy, you end up throwing up bile. So, and it doesn't stop. I personally, that was my experience. It didn't stop up until the bile came out, and it was just horrible, horrible. Now they tell me they want to check the centimeters. Back to reality. They tell me that they want to check the centimeters. Oh, I'm like, okay, cool, you know. But before that, they had told me that they would check at the hospital. They at the gynae's office, they'd done that. At the new gynae, they'd also done that. But they didn't tell me that. Ooh, they didn't tell me that it was going to be it's a check of centimeters. They just said we're checking whether you have started labor or anything. That was painful. Now when they checked for the centimeters, it was also painful. Guys, when I say it's painful, I don't mean like it's something, you know, basic. It's very painful. Like they literally put in their hand and they check in your cervix, like sweep basically, to check how far along you are. And I was like, dang, so we're gonna be doing this every single time you guys need to check. Oh my goodness, I was so stressed out. So comes in, she checks how far along I am, and tell me why after my water broken, I was on 1 centimeter. Huh? And throughout the whole day, because I was in labor for quite a minute, throughout that whole day, she just kept on coming and checking, coming and checking. And at some point in the night, she was just like, girl, you are still on 1 centimeter, right? And they gave me some medication along the way to make the contraction stronger so that, you know, it can quicken the process, but nothing was happening. And we ended up having to do like an emergency C-section because the water was gone already and the baby was not out. So yeah, that's how we ended up having to do like a C-section. I'm not going to go into detail about that. It's also quite fuzzy now, but I'm not going to go into detail about that. I will say this. I know most gynaes recommend for you to go the natural way. And I know most people want to do the C-section, especially if you haven't given birth before. You want to do the C-section because it's quicker and it's easier, right? But, and there's no pushing, there's no, you know, that much pain. However, I understand. I fully understand why gynecologists say just do natural birth, because a C-section is no child's play. Yes, it's quick, but dealing with that wound afterwards is something else. It's just a lot. It's, if you give natural birth, you heal much faster, but C-section, you have that wound for life. It's a scar for life, and it pains sometimes when it's cold. It pains when something happens, and when you're breastfeeding, it also contracts. Oh, yo, it's something else. So if your doctor recommends you to do a natural birth, and there's no medical reason supported, just listen to them. They know what they're doing. Just listen to them. I really enjoyed my leave because I was literally taking that whole thing of sleep when the baby sleeps. Literally, when my baby slept, I slept as well. So I really didn't struggle with like not sleeping, because if she didn't sleep at night, we're gonna sleep together during the day. But the drama came in when I had to go back to work. I was very sad, guys. We had built a routine of what we do. We feed in the morning, we feed at a certain time, and we bath. And then we spend the day together, we laugh, we do tummy time, we do this, and then now I have to go back to work. Yo, guys, I was so sad. I was very, very sad. I'm so glad for my team that I work with, because when I did go back to work, like work was not dumped onto me, especially my coach, like my senior manager. He was like standing on business. I literally didn't do much when I went back to work the first month. I was just relaxed, catching up on admin, reading some emails, doing a little bit of audit work, and then getting into it gradually, which really helped. Especially to adjust as well to coming back to work as well for the baby, because she was not used to me being gone. I tried to like I start not going to work and not spending the whole day with her towards going back to work. But then, you know, it's different when you literally have to work the whole day. So yeah, it was an easy transition back to work. And then, work started happening full force. And when I tell you that being a corporate mom is not for the weak, I give whatever I do my all. Be it being a mom, being a wife, being doing my job, I give it my all. So it was very difficult to balance, getting back to work because, you know, you get to a point where you now have to actually like be fully at work. And sometimes last night you didn't sleep because the baby was crying, because she was teething or whatever, or for whatever reason you didn't sleep, and because of the baby. And now you have to be like fully at work, and that is the most difficult thing. I will tell you that it was the most difficult thing for me. And at some point I had to accept, because we used to sleep with her, and at some point we had to like make the decision to say we're no longer sleeping with the baby, because she was feeding the whole night. At some point, like, she was feeding, she wouldn't want to let go of the boob. And I had such mom guilt because now she would cry so much, and now I am spending less time with her already, and now I'm making this decision to not sleep with her so that I can get some sleep so that I can function at work, And it didn't help either because for the fact that she didn't want formula, so it was just a very difficult time. That's when I then spoke to her. I was like, this is not working out for me, because at night she just didn't want anyone else but me. If it was a thing of we switch and then you sleep, no, she just wanted the boob the whole night. The conversation, and then we were like, I think it's time for her to sleep by herself, but we just didn't want to thrust her into it. So we do have it like a live-in nanny. So she started sleeping with the nanny, and the first night apparently she only drank like 10 mils. She woke up and she drank 10 mils, and then she went back to sleep. The next night she slept at 8 and woke up at 8 a.m. in the morning. And I'm like, girl, were you not abusing me? Because what is this? So you can actually, because I thought maybe the reason why she's not sleeping properly throughout the night is because she was hungry, because we had started solids and everything. Maybe the solids were not enough for her. But girl was not hungry. Girl just wanted the boob. Girl just wanted to use me as a pacifier. So since then, she's been sleeping with the nanny or by herself. I put her on the floor if the nannies are there, and we put a blanket there. She sleeps there. She sleeps throughout the night. The moment she knows that I'm around, it's game over. She wants to feed again the whole night, which is a bit difficult. I did go to work. The most important thing that I wanted to maintain is because the baby was still not on solids, and I wanted to maintain the milk, the milk supply. I think I mentioned it in the first part. And so I had to have a pumping schedule. Basically, having a pumping schedule was every time I was feeding the baby when I was at home, I would pump so that I don't lose my supply. It actually worked. Mainly because also that she wasn't on formula, so she was just exclusively breastfeeding, and I would pump and then she would have the bottle when I'm not around, but she didn't want anything else that was not milk from the boob. She just wanted the breast milk, so it was very difficult. And I also wanted to like breastfeed up until she was 6 months. We only started solids when she was 6 months. I mean, I did well. I mean, I need to pat myself on the back because the baby was thriving. She was chubby. She had tender thighs and everything. She was well fed. I think the milk did a good job, And then when we started solids, she dropped a little bit of weight because of us trying to find food that she really gets along with. So one of the most important things that you have to do when you're at work is to have a change of clothes, especially if you're a breastfeeding mom. You don't want situations where you're walking around with a shirt that is stained because there's boob milk over there. I've had that situation, and I had to quickly dash home and go get changed because, honey, ain't nobody else. And I was with the client, so I was so stressed out. And I was like, and someone pointed out to me, someone was like, I think you need to go to the bathroom. And I'm just like, Jehovah, what am I supposed to do? Even if I go to the bathroom, what am I supposed to do? I went to the bathroom. I tried to get rid of the stain. I couldn't. Milk stains. Milk actually stains. So I was like, let me get along, get my bags, and leave, and just go home because this is not going to work out. So one thing I would recommend is for you to have a change of clothes when you go to work. In summary, being a mom who's in the corporate world who has a full-time job is difficult, but it's nothing that is impossible. People have done it over and over again. I think I just have new respect for my mom because, I mean, we are four in our family, and I never felt like she was not that present in our lives. I understood that she had to have a baby. I mean, she had to go to work, but I just have a newfound respect for her, knowing what I know. All have problems, but add a baby to them, the problems just become even worse. So I will say that it's nothing impossible, but it's definitely something that you have to something that you have to be really prepared for emotionally and mentally, because it is tolling. Because I know people who are stay-at-home moms that struggle with, just postpartum depression, dealing with body changes, dealing with a lot of things, like for instance, my boobs doubled, tripled in size, but it's something that I had to adjust to, wear different clothing and everything. It was something that I had to get used to. So before you do decide to have a baby, you need to be mentally prepared. During the time, if let's say it's an oops, during the time that you're pregnant, you need to be getting ready mentally and making sure that you have support. I mean, there are some unfortunate circumstances where you end up not having support, but if you can get help, get help. Even if it's paid help, get help. There's no harm, there's no shame. If I could, I would have 6 people around me helping me. Even if it's paid help, I don't mind. My mom was here, my sister was here during that whole entire time. My sister was here when I did go back to work as well. And I don't know what I can give that girl, because she was really on top of it. She was there for me through and through. She did every single little thing for me and the baby. And then my mom was also here. And when I tell you, when my mom was around, I would literally feed the baby and return the baby. Like, she would literally come drop off the baby in the bedroom. For those 6 weeks that I was down and under, she would bring the baby to me. I feed the baby, and she would literally take the baby, spend the time with the baby, come. I would literally see the baby when I was feeding the baby. That was it. And sleeping at night. That was it. Even at night, she would come and get the baby at 5 a.m., which was awesome for me because I would just go back to sleep and knock out. Hubs as well. I mean, in Namibia, dads only get 10 paternity leave days, which is not a lot. It's 2 weeks. It's not a lot, but even after he went back to work, it doesn't change his support when it came with the baby. I know I call it support because I know a lot of people will be side-eyeing me because I'm saying support. I'm talking about supporting me as a mom, not him taking care of the baby. No, supporting me, making sure I'm fed, making sure that I have water, making sure my phone is charged, making sure my watch is charged. He used to do everything. The only thing I needed to tend to was to tend to the baby. That is the only thing that I needed to tend to. And I'm really, really grateful for that. Despite him having to go to work and not being on leave like I was, he never dropped the ball. And sometimes I'm amazed at that. It's just amazing because yes, he was tired, but I think he also understood that I was tired. So I would do the night duty willingly, and then as soon as we wake up in the morning, he takes the baby and leaves with the baby. At night, he would cook and make sure everything was down on lock. I think for 3-4 months, I did not cook anything. It was just hubs on the pots and my sister and my mom, interchangeably. And then the nanny that we have, she is really good. Like, I'm very grateful for her. I'm very grateful to God for her being in our lives, because they really, I mean, in the beginning it was a bit shaky with the baby because the baby did not want to go to any stranger, but she was making an effort to make sure that every single day she touched the baby and she made a relationship with the baby, and it was just great. One of the main tips I would give to any of the corporate moms is that you have to be very organized. If you say you're going to do something at a certain time, do it, because after work you won't have the time. So maximize, don't procrastinate during working hours. Maximize on the hours. If you're going to work, work. If you're going to go pump, go pump. If you're going to be with your child, be with your child. Don't like mix things, because once you start mixing things, something will not get the attention that it needs to get, and you don't want that to be the baby. So if you're away, you have already sacrificed time with the baby. Why not just be in the moment of you being at work so that it's actually worth it, rather than you procrastinating and then tomorrow you are, you know, you're dealing with the consequence of you procrastinating, or you have to stay at work late, and then that is also eating into the time that you have to spend with your child. So I would say that being organized and staying true to your schedule is a game changer. I mean, even if you're not pregnant, that goes the same way. So that, you know, personal life and work life balances. Actually, you actually never really have work life balance, even if you don't have a baby in the mix. But I think it does help if you stay committed to your schedule. And being also a working mom, you will have, like, you know, guilt, like mom guilt, but it's okay. You know, you're doing your best. You are doing your very best to make sure that your baby is well looked after. You're doing your best to make sure that you are there for your child. There's certain things that I did not let go of. For instance, like feeding the baby at night, like actual solids. Um, you know, I try my best to make sure that I do that. I also don't leave for work up until I feed my child in the morning. So it's certain things that you have to draw boundaries with and make sure you follow them if that's what you want. But you have to make sure that you are not letting something slip because of your personal things. Because you have to remember, you signed a contract to work. You know, it didn't say, oh, when I have a baby, I'm not gonna work on these couple of days. No, it says you're gonna work. So do what you're supposed to be doing in the time you're supposed to be doing it. If you do end up working later on in the day, it's okay. I completely forgot to do an outro, but if you have reached this far, thank you so much, guys, for watching. Don't forget to give this video a big fat thumbs up, and don't forget to also comment down below. If you haven't already, please do hit the subscribe button. I would like to hit 1,000 subscribers by January, so please do help me get there, guys, and don't forget to share this video. I will catch you guys on my next one. Bye. Make my wish come true.